Hi, my name's Jim O'Toole, and I've been playing violin and viola, and occasionally both in the same opera, for English Touring Opera's Old Street Band. That's the period instrument orchestra which they use to accompany their Baroque and early classical shows. This spring we should have been bringing you Bach's St John Passion and Mozart's Così fan tutte and Handel's Giulio Cesare, but obviously we're not able to do that under lockdown. So I thought I'd talk to you about a slightly neglected member of the orchestral family, the viola, this morning, and how it's different from the violin and what implications that has for our role within the string section. So first I'd like you to play two pieces from the opening chorus of Cesare. This comes out of the minuet at the end of the overture. So here's the violin part first. So very much a kind of singing melodic kind of line with a few ornaments, quite a nice tune to play, nice tune to sing. Now listen to the viola. So our line is very much filler between what's going on at the top, the melodic line, and the bass line. We're just sort of holding the harmony. Much plainer, much less ornamented, in some ways much less fun to play, until you think that what the violas are doing is sat between the tune on the top. The violins often sit on our right, and the bass is on our left, and we're very much having to kind of glue them together. So we might act as the kind of diplomats or the politicians of the orchestra. Quite often the violins have got something very complicated, really sort of virtuosic, ornamented stuff, and the bass lines might have a very simple dum 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 kind of simplified bass line, and we're just sort of chugging along in the middle. And we can see that perhaps the violins are getting a little bit stressed at that point. They're wishing they'd practiced it a little bit harder, and they've got shifting all over the place. Everything's tensing up, and then perhaps start rushing a bit, and the bass is just going, what am I going to have for lunch? You know, this is a little bit simple. And they might be back on the beat, dragging a little bit. So it might be our role to kind of go, okay guys, perhaps this isn't meeting. We might say it's not quite meeting on the downbeat. We wouldn't say, you know, you're too fast, you're rushing, you're stressed, kind of calm it down a bit. We just sort of say, yeah, it's not quite meeting together. Can we fix that, please? You know, it's very much our role to glue everything together. So to talk to you a little bit about the difference between a Baroque viola and a Baroque violin. First of all, the size. You can just see the viola just about fits on the screen there, and the violin reasonably comfortably. The viola, there we are, look, you can see it's a little bit bigger, a little bit fatter, a little bit meatier, obviously a little bit deeper. The experience is a bit like taking off a hiking boot if you're on the viola. Very thick, very sort of solid, chunky. You've got to use a lot of arm weight to make it work. And when you pick up the violin, it's much more like a toy, like a running shoe or something, or perhaps if you're driving a 9-seater minibus and then you switch it for a sports car. It's very much like that. And occasionally, when you're doubling in a Handel opera, you might have to finish the note on the viola and then absolutely quick put it down and pick up the violin, and you might even have to start in a different position. You've got no clue where to start, and so you might fake the first couple of notes until you realise where you are. So anyway, that's just a little bit about what it's like being a viola player in a Handel opera. Very sorry we can't be with you. Hope to see you perhaps in the autumn or sometime when everything gets back to normal. This has been Jim O'Toole from the Old Street Band of English Touring Opera's Period Instrument Orchestra. All the best.